Yo, what is up, everybody? This is Kyle and Mike from the Fantasy Phenom, here to bring you guys another outstanding episode of NBA Daily Fantasy Advice. We're here to recap Wednesday's ridiculous 12-game slate and look forward to Thursday's much smaller 4-game slate.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Kyle, but I'm glad that's over.
Dude, I didn't play the main slate at all. I'm glad I didn't. I had no intention of doing it. I broke it down and I played two slates tonight. I played the 7:30 one and the 6 o'clock one. Yeah, 6 o'clock one.
So to me, for me, that was the 8 o'clock slate, the 8:30 slate.
Yes.
8 o'clock slate and the 9:30 slate.
7:30 slate.
Yeah,
7:30 slate.
Okay, yeah. So I played the main slate and the 7:30 slate, and I know I said last night that I was, everyone scale back your buy-in. Sure enough, I went 10% again, or went 15%, closer to 15% today.
You just felt confident?
Yeah, but I only ended up losing $5, so it wasn't all a loss. It was just a stressful day of refresh and trying to avoid watching the lineups,
I have some shout-outs real quick because we did have some winners that hit tonight. A lot of people did not hit, but, I always got to shout out the guys that do.
Yeah, definitely.
So, Jonathan, over in Australia, we're worldwide, Mike. Worldwide.
Jonathan?
Over in Australia, got first place in a 744-person GPP.
Nice.
So he had a score of 364. So congratulations, Jonathan. And then Chris Adams, who is another one of our viewers, he profited.
Yeah, what's up, Chris?
He profited, I believe, $400 or $500 tonight. So
it's a hell of a feat, man. It was a daunting 12-game slate. So I commend all of you for that cash tonight, and hopefully you use some of our advice, some of our strategy we detailed last night, and kind of toy with it and made it your own.
We have some good news, by the way. So we're forever innovating here at the Fantasy.
Name of the game.
That's what we do. So shout out to Anthony Gordon. You guys know him on Facebook. He's pretty active. He does the We Build Wednesdays. Major contributor to the movement and the community. Anthony is going to strip our videos every night after the show and convert them to MP3 and upload them on a podcast site. So those of you that drive, that you want to listen to them on the way to work, or while you're working, if you can put your headphones in, basically any of you guys that can't watch the video, it's going to be in an MP3 format for you guys. So major props to Anthony. Thank you for that, sir. That's going to be huge for those listeners that don't have a chance to watch the video every day.
Yeah, I know in my line of work, that is going to help out huge because I tend to listen to podcasts a lot, being that I'm in the bus all day,
Yep. And then I also want to give, have some amazing minds in our community right now. So we're working with a group of guys. You guys, I'm sure, are pretty familiar with some of the guys. Dave from Chicago. I can't even pronounce his last name. I'm not going to. Jeff Bissell. I'm sorry if I slaughter your name. De'Arion. I believe we just call him D. And then Josh Tannery and Josh Sands. So all those guys, we've been really chopping it up. They've been super huge helps. Josh has some inside sources on the MLB, so I'm super excited about that. We talked about MLB being our best sport, or at least our favorite sport. We don't know if it's our best yet, but that can only help us because that's insider knowledge. Josh, obviously, huge help. He's going to the Super Bowl to hand out flyers for us. So, huge help there. Jeff, Anthony, and D are basically all organizing and brainstorming all day these ideas for the group. So If you guys have any ideas, feel free to shoot any of us emails or messages on Facebook. Like, those guys are all active all day. And if you guys have any ideas that you want to see included, shoot them messages, shoot them emails. We want to include you guys. We build this around you. Without you, this community is nothing. So they really wanted to be a part of it. They have great ideas. If you guys have them, shoot them over. We'll include you in the chats and get you guys going.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. The Facebook, I was just going to say, the Facebook, unfortunately, it buries some things. So when people have ideas, sometimes we don't see them. And I know these guys are on there, I mean, if not as much as we are, probably more than we are. I know Kyle and I are busy most of the day doing other things behind the scenes. So we sometimes miss things. And so, yeah, I mean, the Brain Trust is everyone in this community. You guys are welcome to provide your ideas, and I promise that everything goes into consideration as we take a step forward.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. Someone suggested the podcast idea. I forget which viewer it was, but someone suggested that. So, I mean, we take your ideas and we use them. You know, I would never have a use for an audio podcast, so I didn't think of it. But when I heard a viewer say he's a truck driver, and he's like, hey, how do we go about audio podcasts? Literally, he asked me tonight. And I hit up Anthony, and I was like, yo, Anthony, how possible is this? Like, how easy is it to do? And he made it happen in 20 minutes.
Boom.
So we're all about quick action. I'm sure you guys can see how quick things are going. We're seeing other sites already. I love this, man. And this is a shout out to you, Mike. I'm seeing sites already come up with lists of injury pivots. So we started that, a week ago? And now all of a sudden I'm seeing other sites do it. And it's imitation is the best form of flattery.
That's right. We're not here to follow. We're here to innovate and start new. I think every show, our goal is to come with something new to be excited to tell you guys about. So we're going to keep it up. That's for sure.
And speaking of that, the best news of all, I have the DraftKings optimizer done and ready and rolling.
Nice.
This shit is going, Mike. I tested it all today. DraftKings is up and ready. I have all the constraints set up. Obviously, it was a much harder setup than FanDuel because FanDuel is 2 point guards, 2 shooting guards. With DraftKings, you have flexibility, and so those constraints were harder to do. But I got it. It is set up, and I will have optimals on DraftKings for you guys going forward.
I'm excited. Definitely excited.
So,
props to Kyle.
Late night. I didn't go to sleep till 5 a.m., but I got it done.
I hear you, man.
It's all worth it, man. It really is.
Right.
Sean, send it now, please. I'm like a kid. Oh, man. I'm excited.
It really is that big of a deal. Again, if you want in on these projections, on these optimizers, on these tools, on the spreadsheet you're looking at, hit us up.
It's all below. It's all in the description. You get a free 7-day trial by joining. And it's cancelable. You can cancel at any time, no charge. You're not charged until the 7 days is up. So if you're interested and you kind of want to get a feel for what we're all about, you hear the stories, you hear the people winning, you see the chats, you see how live they are, you see the Facebook group. Telling you, it's the place to be. You get 7 days free to just try it. If you don't like it, that's okay. But I promise you will. So, all right, Mike. We got a 4-game slate tomorrow. It's a weird slate. On FanDuel, they have a Swaggy P slate. I don't know if you heard about that.
No, I did not.
Swaggy P is at center. He's the only center you can choose from.
What?
Yeah.
Are you joking?
I swear to God.
So you can't roster any center tomorrow?
No, it's only Swaggy. Well, in that format, there's the regular one as well, but.
Okay. No thanks. I'm not on board with that idea. I don't know what that's about. But yeah, 4-game slate on a Thursday. It seems to be what I'm used to. I know in years past this is more what it was. We'd have those 2-game Thursday slates. So I like this, especially after a 12-game slate today. I could use a nice little 4-game break.
This is where I see the optimizers tend to hit as well. Once again, I must say, the late night optimal is far and away the most successful. It cashed again tonight. I had 40th in a 4,000 person GPP. So, I'm telling you guys, these late optimals, I don't know what it is about the late slate and these optimals, but god damn it. No, I'm sorry. This was an express late. The second express one, which it was a late slate to me. There's something about those, man. They hit, but again, I think it has to do with smaller slates. And tomorrow's a 4-game slate. I feel like I'm going to be really confident in the optimal lineups it shoots back.
Yep, on DraftKings you have the 4-game main slate, then you have a 2-game early slate and a 2-game late slate. So pretty straightforward. I will say that there really aren't. I mean, the point totals are all pretty much the same. And the spreads are all the same. They're all kind of open at the same. There's really no close spreads tomorrow. So when you're looking at a game to target, there really isn't one that stands out.
I think you're just going to have to be on the winning end of some blowouts.
Yeah, I guess you're going to have to use your eye test on what you think is going to be a blowout and what's not.
Just because Vegas predicts it doesn't mean it's going to happen. We've seen it. They predict Brooklyn to get blown out all the time.
That's right.
All right, so we're back to FanDuel formatting tonight. We'll switch it up. We'll go every other night. FanDuel, DraftKings. Because we are now a daily fantasy show. We're no longer a FanDuel show.
I'm down with that. Again, my prices are all going to be DraftKings. That's because that's where I evaluate my players from. But I think that helps both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. Atlanta and Houston tomorrow. I think we can safely fade Dennis Schroeder tomorrow.
Yeah, he had a really rough game today. So everybody on the Hawks did. They just got their butts handed to them against Miami, who's won, I think, 9 in a row now. It's insane.
Miami's on a roll.
They're on a road back-to-back going to Houston.
Just don't have any faith in Schroeder tomorrow.
Tough. That's tough. Schroeder, yeah, I don't know if I like him tomorrow.
I don't know how much I like this pick, but Patrick Beverly could be a nice play at his price with this matchup.
This is a great matchup. Probably the best match. Probably not the best, but against Schroeder, we've seen, obviously, it's a streaming spot for point guards. But, I mean, Patrick Beverly is not a traditional point guard in the sense that he doesn't really take more than 10 shots a game. But if you look at, what he's been doing lately, he's been getting minutes. They just blew out Sacramento, and he still got 30 minutes in that game. And that was a game that they limited Harden in the fourth quarter. Again, he's got a great matchup against Schroeder, and he's 5K on DraftKings. So I like that pick tomorrow.
By the way, sorry, I completely forgot. I don't know how the hell I forgot about this. Isaiah Thomas.
Just every day, man.
Isaiah Thomas, dude. He literally will carry you to the cash line in the fourth quarter. Again.
Similarly to how he carries his team every day. He will carry yours.
He is unbelievable. He's so much fun to watch, Mike. So much fun to watch.
I was very surprised at his ownership today. I mean, I knew he was going to be low owned because of how many plays are on the slate, but to be like lower owned than Kyrie and lower owned than some of these other guys in that price range, I didn't understand.
Dude, I broke down the slates, like I said, and I played the early express one with 4 games. 4 games. Isaiah Thomas was 28% owned.
Really? He was really low owned in mine.
No, that's low, though. In a 4-game slate, Isaiah Thomas should be over 50%.
You'd think, but...
Dude, I could not believe... He literally...
Who knows?
I was missing the cash line up until the fourth quarter of that game. But Isaiah Thomas had like 28 points after the third quarter. Typical Isaiah Thomas. And then with like two minutes left in the third quarter, I think he came back in. No, I lied. He left with 2 minutes. Never mind. Fourth quarter came, and he ended up with like 56 points. Ridiculous, man. I went from not cashing to in the top 10 of my double up that I played.
Yeah, that probably brings me into Steph Curry, who had another huge game today.
Yeah.
And I like to see this, man. I mean, this is the guy that's established his floor over 40 points, and he's got 40-plus points over the last 10 games in every game. I think in the last 12 games in the last 10 games, as far as DraftKings points. So he's established a really nice floor, and he's got 60-plus in his last two. The dude is just on fire right now. It is a back-to-back, but, I mean, this guy is streaking. He's 36 of 64 for 56% from behind the arc in his last 5 games. And 4 of those 5 were road games, like this one is. So, I mean, the dude's shooting from 3. I went even further and looked at what the Clippers do as far as defending the three-point line. And in the 5 games without Chris Paul, their opponents are shooting 39% from 3, and that would rank second to last on the season. So we got Steph Curry
and Klay Thompson
on the best three-point shooting streak of his season, going up against the Clippers, who are giving up.
And you know what? It held true last night, Mike. You mentioned that Steph Curry and Klay Thompson at home.
Yep.
Klay dropped 50 FanDuel points tonight. Six 3-pointers.
Yep, and Steph had 10, I think. Do you have 10 3-pointers?
I think he had 8.
I don't know. He had a lot.
Regardless, yeah. So, I mean, they're not at home tomorrow, but again, they love playing the Clippers. These two teams hate each other.
Yeah. I originally think this would be a blowout with no Chris Paul, but the fact that the Warriors run a back-to-back could keep it close, maybe. So, I don't know. I like Curry and Klay tomorrow for the fact the numbers don't lie for what opponents have been doing against the Clippers from the three-point line, you know?
I can't stand Steph Curry. I really hate him. I can't stand
Why?
him. I can't stand Steph Curry. Something about him just bugs me. But I respect his game as a player. Off the top of my, just at first glance when I'm looking at this right now, Steph Curry and John Wall looks really enticing tomorrow.
Yeah, so I want both of them.
That's what I'm thinking.
But I think if I had to pick, I think on DraftKings it's a lot easier.
To go Steph?
Because the price difference is 10.4 to 8.7 for Steph.
I can't believe he's only 8.7 still.
And I think they provide similar 40-point floors. I think I'd like Steph over Chris. I think I like Steph over John Wall, even though John Wall's playing the Lakers. I don't know. It's just like I love both of these guys tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I can see it. I'm going to try and roster both, and I think you can on FanDuel.
Now, if you do that, does that mean you have to fade Harden? Probably.
Yeah, but I don't mind
definitely
fading
on
Harden.
DraftKings.
I could get burned by that.
But on a 4-game slate, if you fade Harden and he
true.
hits value, you're done.
That's true. But, I don't know, because John Wall's damn near that price. The difference is like 6 points in value. If John Wall hits value, that'll keep me right in it.
Right, but I think...
You're more confident in Harden, obviously.
Yeah, I think Harden provides a safer floor.
I don't know about... I would say Harden provides a higher upside. I don't know about safer floor.
I think Harden would give you a 50-point floor over Wall's 40-point floor.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. But
either way,
regardless,
I want to fade Harden, but it's like tough to do.
That's going to be tough, yeah.
In cash, it is.
I'm really interested now that we have the optimizer. I'm interested to see who returns out of the stars on DraftKings tomorrow.
Yeah,
I just don't play. I just don't play DraftKings that often, so
But again, you have to factor other factors in, like the fact that Curry's super hot from three is not going to be factored into the optimizers, you know.
That's true.
So you always gotta look at the eye test too, and trust the fact that you watch the games and you watch the trends like this.
No, it's 100% true. Again, that's why they're a tool, not a law. I'll never recommend unless I'm extremely confident in it and it just happens to return guys that I really like. I'll never recommend an optimized lineup verbatim. I usually plug in different pieces, but
Excel can't watch basketball.
Games. Yeah. I just give it
so
the stats.
We talked about Wall and Curry. We talked about Patrick Beverly. So I guess you had, I don't know who else would be. So I guess it'd be like T.J. McConnell or Patrick Beverly and Wall or Curry, right?
Yeah. Now what about Russell? I think he's going to go under the radar tomorrow.
I think the opposite. I think the fact that he went off is going to bring his ownership. Obviously, his ownership's going to be high, but
I don't think he's low enough price to be that guy. Like I feel he's in that 6 to 7K range where it's hard to plug him in when you want to get James Harden or John Wall. So I think he'll be lower owned, especially with Wall and Curry on the slate. I don't know. Just my gut feeling.
Well, you gotta prioritize him based on the other people in his price range, I think. So you say who's going to be the highest owned between Russell,
McConnell,
and Patrick Beverly.
It'll be Russell. It should be Russell at least.
That's what I'm thinking as well. And the fact that it's a coast to coast trip. He only had one game back, and it was against Denver. And I mean, he had a great game, but I don't know that I trust him to do that again today.
I don't think he does what he did against Denver. No. But the upside's there. Always with D'Angelo.
Yeah. I agree with that.
I don't like McConnell tomorrow against the Spurs.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think I like Patrick Beverly more. Out of the three, I think I like Patrick Beverly the most.
And then Parker, I'm good on.
Me too. He's just not getting the minutes.
Shooting guard.
I think this is going to be the money position today.
I think Tim Hardaway's in a good spot. Cephalosha, I believe, is still doubtful tomorrow.
Yeah, he's still he's listed as questionable. I don't know if he's doubtful, but either way, if he draws a start again, like 8 starts now, 34 minutes, averaging an 8 starts today. He only played 26 and had 19 DraftKings points, so obviously not a good showing if you rostered him in the spot. But the Hawks got blown out. I really don't think you can use this game as your barometer. And he's in a good spot against Houston.
That's what I'm saying.
But I mean, the fact that James Harden is going to be on Tim Hardaway Jr., it's like
that's enticing.
Makes me want James Harden.
Can you go both?
I guess you can. Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not.
You know what else I think I can do tomorrow? And I used to love doing this before Eric Gordon got really expensive. James Harden and Eric Gordon.
Now, something I was thinking is that this game could easily blow out as well. I mean, the Hawks obviously aren't playing well. In recent memory, I've seen them get blown out by the Wizards. I just saw them get blown out by the Heat. You know, going to Houston on a road back-to-back, I could see this being a blowout, which, you know, could potentially take me off Harden and make Gordon a nice play.
I love Gordon, man. I love Gordon on the second unit.
So, I mean, if you're fading Harden, perhaps Patrick Beverly and Eric Gordon could be a nice little two-man to get some exposure to that game.
Now, I don't know. This is purely me being hypothetical here, I guess you can call it. Conspiracy. James Harden got hurt, was it last game, two games ago?
I don't know if he got hurt, but
he hurt his knee or whatever.
He definitely
he went down.
Yeah, he went down and he didn't leave the game, but he definitely looked like he was hurt.
If it gets any indication of a blowout tomorrow, I don't think they push James Harden.
They don't generally do it anyway. He usually sits with like 8 minutes left in the fourth. Similar to what happened with Westbrook today.
But I could see them resting him even earlier than that if there's any indication that the Hawks don't have any chance. So that could cap what he can do.
Yeah, I mean, if there's any inclination of a blowout, I generally don't want to do James Harden. I mean, you saw with Westbrook today. He was on pace to go off, and then he didn't play.
Yeah.
The rest of the fourth quarter, and so it capped what he could do, like you said. If this game is close, I don't see how he doesn't hit 60. I really don't.
I think you're safer to fade James Harden in a tournament than you are in cash.
Right, definitely.
In cash, I think you're being extremely ballsy to fade James Harden if you're not going to pay up elsewhere. In my opinion, I don't think tomorrow's a day for balanced lineups in cash.
Just because Harden's on the slate, yeah.
Harden and Wall. I think if you try and go no one over 8K, I think you're really capping what you can do.
You're going to fall behind the field.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we got Klay
and JJ Redick.
Here's an interesting stat. So I was on Redick. I was thinking, for some reason I'm always thinking like these 3-point shooters when they go up against the Warriors, are gonna. It seems like a good game for them,
With
I don't know why.
Pace of play.
Yeah, sometimes I think that. But I looked it up, and obviously I value defensive rating, and if you look at minimum 25 starts, just from any guard, point guard or shooting guard, these are the top 5 defensive players as far as defensive rating. Chris Paul, Rodney Hood, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Victor Oladipo.
Steph,
then, is number 3 in defensive rating for all starting guards in the NBA.
Wow.
And Klay's number 4, then Oladipo. So, and then I looked into what these guys did last time they played, and they both didn't have great games. I could see probably Crawford over Redick just because he comes off the bench and maybe sees some of this bench unit, but I don't know, that kind of cautions me off of JJ Redick.
Crawford's been doing well lately, too.
And then if you look at another stat, at 3-point percentage, like the opposing team's 3-point percentage, Golden State's tops in the league, 32% for their opponents.
Yeah. Jamal Crawford,
so when you look at
over his last 5, has only scored under 20 FanDuel points once.
Yeah, like I said, I think I go Crawford over Redick, but there's some caution there. The fact that they're playing great defenders on the perimeter, and it shows. 32%, 33% from 3 for their opponents.
I like Bradley Beal and Lou Williams tomorrow.
Yeah, man, you can't fault what Lou and Nick Young have been doing. Like, these guys have just been shooting like crazy. Like, their percentages are... Their true shooting percentages are up there with Isaiah Thomas, no joke. They're both over 60% true shooting.
Now, the price discrepancy here is $2,200. Does that make you want Nick Young more?
Somewhat. Like you said, you got to pay up if you want those guys, and so I think in cash, yeah, I think I like Nick Young more. He averages more minutes than Lou Williams, but I mean, Lou Williams is tops on this team in usage. He's averaging close to 30% usage on the season when he's on the floor.
Well, it's because the reason for that, and it's why I love Lou so much, he captains that second team. He's literally, and by captain, I mean he shoots the ball.
Yeah, if you look at second team, you look at 6 men like on that second team, I think he probably has, if not the highest, one of the highest usage rates. He was up there with Canner.
The Thunder miss Cantor bad.
Yeah, they're struggling. They don't really know what they're doing right now. I was watching that game just trying to get a grasp, and they just really don't know.
That second, their bench unit is sorry without Cantor.
But yeah, I like both these guys against shooting guards.
Could you roster both?
Yeah, they've shown that they both have gone off before.
I mean, Lou had 48 last time, and Nick Young had 30. So
I've seen multiple times they run down the. If it's a close game, they run down the stretch with Lou and Nick.
Yeah,
in the
they're
backcourt.
both in the game. Yeah. So I could see it. I mean, if you want to go Steph and Wall tomorrow, you could probably pay down at shooting guard and get Lou and Nick Young, especially in a tournament play.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be tough to get Lou and Steph and John on DraftKings.
Yeah. But on FanDuel, it's very doable.
It is, yeah.
Especially with Nick Young only $800 more than the minimum salary.
Right. Yeah, Nick Young, for price reference, he's $4K on DraftKings, and Lou Williams is $5,700. But again, I caution shooters on the road too.
True.
So this is a general rule.
And then lastly, we have Philly and San Antonio. San Antonio, who is terrible against shooting guards, but I don't know if I feel confident in a Nick Stauskas or Gerald Henderson play tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't really generally ever feel confident in that.
But I will say this. If you're looking to go stars and scrubs, which you would need to do with Harden, I can see these guys being in play only because I talk about bad players in a good matchup. If they're going to go off or if they're going to have games where they just reach value, this is an opportunity for that to happen.
I don't know. I still feel like I find a way to get to Nick Young. I rearrange my lineup or something.
True. I mean, he's only $600
$600 bucks.
Yeah.
I feel like I find a way to do it. Also, Luwawu Cabarrot started today.
For Covington,
yeah. And everybody thought Saric was going to start. TLC started. He played 23 minutes /7, 4, and 2. Saric played 24 minutes /10, 7, and 2. So they both barely hit value. For what it's worth.
Gotcha.
Bazemore, we doing it? Baze train?
Fuck it, why not? $5,000, I can do it.
There really is no one else in that price range at small forward tomorrow. If Tabo is out again, I could see it. Now, I do. So, Baze, he still is just a tournament play because if you look at what he's done in his last 10, he's scored 30-plus DraftKings points in 5 games, and he's scored under 25 in 4 games. So, as far as safety, Bazemore's not your guy.
Yeah. He's definitely a tournament play.
I definitely look at him more if Cephalosha's out. Is there really anybody at 5,000? I guess Trevor Ariza's there.
I like Bazemore over Ariza.
Me too. I don't think anybody really is there at that price range. At small forward tomorrow.
I think Durant goes under owned tomorrow.
I think so too. I think you're going to see Kawhi get a lot of ownership for good reason, though. He's proven that he's safe for 50 without Pau Gasol.
But Durant has a higher ceiling.
I think you could debate that.
Why
I think you definitely could debate that. I mean, just for the fact that Kawhi is the only guy on his team. If he needs to, he can be the only guy and will his team to a victory. Whereas Durant, that usage is spread out more. Obviously, Durant's the better player, and has shown the proponents to get 70 plus on a more regular basis. But I think tomorrow against Philly, I especially if Covington's out, I think we could see a higher ceiling and
for Kawhi?
From Kawhi tomorrow. He's a lot cheaper he's only 9,000 on DraftKings too, in comparison to 10,300 for Durant.
You know what that means?
Fire Durant?
No, that means that Kawhi's going to rest tomorrow.
Yeah. Wouldn't be surprised. Another thing about Durant, if you look at these last two games where Steph has went off, Durant hasn't hit value.
Yeah, Durant had like 18 points tonight. Real life points, I should say.
He's obviously deferring to Steph when he's streaking like this.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's interesting. But you know who could be a really, really good play? Tomorrow's Otto Porter.
Oh, man.
I can go a Washington stack tomorrow, man.
I could easily go a Washington stack. I've been trying to stay away from anything more than 3 guys.
I think if I do that, you know what I do, though? I think I do this. It's almost a game stack. Just off of my head. John Wall at point guard. Lou and Nick Young at shooting guard. Porter, Keefe, and Gortat.
No, I'm definitely seeing what you're doing, and I did the same thing in my head. But so I decided to dive in and see which would be the best plays out of all of those.
Yeah.
Instead of like going full game stack, which I know you can do, but again, there's really not a game that I want to do that with on this 4-game slate. Like I feel like picking between these 4 games is going to be tough. Again, Washington against LA is something that I'm definitely looking at a lot. Perhaps the most. So, if you look at what Porter's been doing, I mean, he leads the league in 3-point percentage, and in his last 10 games, he is shooting from 53.7% from 3, which is almost 10 points up from his season average, which is leading the league. He's taking more threes. He's close to 6 threes a game, which is different. I mean, I don't know how that correlates with John Wall, but I imagine it has to, right?
I think it means John Wall's assists are up.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I like attacking the front court in LA more than I would at small forward. So I think
Keefe and Gortat.
I like Keefe the most out of the 3, but it's a toss-up for me between Gortat and Porter. But I definitely like Wall and Morris the most out of those 4.
Okay. What about Kelly Oubre?
He's getting his minutes and doing nothing with them. Consistently. He is.
He is.
I wouldn't lie to you.
He has 27 minutes over the last 5 games, average, and gets 15 points.
Yep, that's the name of his game. He spreads the floor, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what. I guess he has a purpose for 27 minutes. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know, maybe a blowout factor? But then again, actually, no, I can't buy that because if I'm going to play Oubre with the narrative of it being a blowout, I'd be shooting myself to roster 3 other Washington players.
Right, but what are you thinking, too? Like, he's going to go from 29 minutes to 34 minutes in this blowout? Like, so maybe he gets 16 points instead of 15 tomorrow. It's like he doesn't really follow that blowout narrative.
Yeah.
But he'll probably get 25 and make us look like idiots.
Yeah, right. It happens.
It does.
So obviously Kawhi, and then...
Yeah, we talked about Kawhi.
Yeah. You want to get sneaky, maybe Jonathan Simmons?
I think he's still hurt, man.
I believe he's back and played.
Is he? Yeah. You can get sneaky with that. I'll be sitting back.
Yeah, he's back and playing, but
Millsap or Howard?
Both have really, really high projections tomorrow.
They both did well. The only time that this team, the Hawks and the Houston played, the Hawks actually won, and they both had a good game. But I don't know. I feel like Howard on a back-to-back is someone I usually like to stay away from.
What about that narrative?
Yeah, there's that. But again,
the narrative.
I don't know
of the
if I go
matchup.
there with Howard. I think it might be a trap.
Oh, it definitely could be.
I think it might be a trap. Again, I don't really like Howard on a back-to-back ever. He only played 24 minutes today, so I guess there's that to consider. He's in a good matchup.
I think you could do both if you really wanted to be contrarian. You're using a lot of salary on two guys that aren't going to be really high owned.
Yeah, I guess that would be a tournament perspective. Again, I would rather do Wall and Curry in cash, which pretty much takes me off of both. Maybe I could do one or the other.
I'm not going to look at Ryan Anderson. He can go fuck himself.
Damn, all right.
Going off when...
Draymond Green against Blake Griffin.
Oh, that matchup is juicy, man.
I think I stay away from both.
Yeah.
So I did last, and it worked out okay.
I think Draymond probably gets ejected by the second quarter.
I'll give you third quarter and bet 5. So I looked into. Remember, I was talking about how with no Zaza, what were they going to do? I started JaVale McGee, and Michael McAdoo played the most minutes. Like I thought. I mean, he had probably the worst fantasy game out of all of them.
I was just going to say, he sucks. He's a fucking terrible player.
But he played the most minutes.
So
then again, this was a super blowout, so they probably all came in the fourth quarter.
So are
who says that doesn't happen again?
Are you viewing this as a Kelly Oubre game again, where he gets a lot of minutes but does nothing with them?
No, yeah, do not play James Michael McAdoo.
Don't minutes chase tomorrow.
Yeah.
Unless
you want to team stack the Warriors bench.
You can go super contrarian. You can be like, have you ever seen those tournaments where there's always
I was just going to say, somebody's doing it.
There's always that one guy at the bottom that has all bench players in the hopes that they go off. For whatever reason, that makes zero sense, but there's always that one guy.
I guess he just enjoys throwing money away. I don't know.
He's probably rich, but...
Blake Griffin is not 9,200 on DraftKings. He is 7,700.
Fuck. 9,200 is way too much for me tomorrow.
Now, Draymond is second in the league at power forward in defensive rating. He's second to Mbah Moute. And if you look at what happened today without, I guess today was probably the first game that Blake Griffin had significant minutes. He played over 30 minutes today. And usage was distributed. Rivers, 25.2, Blake, 24.7. And then it went, and then I looked at DeAndre. He was only 13% usage. So it's up there, but against Draymond, I feel like I just stay away again, especially on FanDuel at 9,200. No thanks.
Keith. Damn, 7,500. I think you still have to do that though.
Ooh, that's tough. 6,800 on DraftKings. I'm all board. Again, team stats. The Lakers are last in the league in opponent field goal percentage because of this front court. You know, they just don't have a front. Yeah, they're last in the league in opponent field goal percentage. They're also the 5th worst in defensive rebounding percentage. So I guess that, when I saw that immediately put me onto Gortat and Morris, Mm-hmm. So then I looked at it even further, and I was like, okay, so what does Gortat do rebounding the ball. He's averaging 11.4 rebounds on the season, and in his last 10, 9.5, which is -2. And if you look at Morris, he averages 6.8 on the season,
and he's up,
and 9.5 in his last 10, which is +2.
So,
and then you could get the same trend is in field goal attempts. Markieff is +2 in field goal attempts, and Gortat's -1.5. So
the same amount is there. It's just being distributed differently now.
yeah, so that's what I'm trying to say is that this is a great matchup for both of them, but it seems like Morris is taking more shots and getting more rebounds in the last 10 than Gortat is.
Okay, so Science just mentioned this, and I actually really like it. Jason Smith.
Jason Smith? The backup center?
Mm-hmm.
As a punt, perhaps. I don't know that I would do that. I think I'd rather play Tariq Black if he gets another start with Randall out.
Points per minutes, dude. Last couple games. 17 minutes, 17 points. 15 minutes, 15 points. The matchup is there. The matchup is there.
Yeah, you're right. The matchup is definitely there.
Just something to keep an eye out on. Good.
Yeah, it's a solid point.
Good find.
Solid point. I wasn't looking at it. Definitely.
Someone just said Jason Smith, 20 and 15.
Going off.
Fuck.
I mean, Salah Mejri almost did that today in like 15 minutes.
Did he really?
He had a monster game. Yeah.
Boban.
Don't even go there. Boban.
Ilyasova, Noel. Are we looking here or there anywhere?
I guess you can look at Ilyasova. He's got a couple good games in his last 5, but he's also got a couple duds.
He has. I played him and he had 6 points. He hit 1 times value.
Yeah. So, in cash, hell no. In tournaments, perhaps. Against LaMarcus Aldridge, I mean, maybe.
What about the reverse? What about Aldridge?
Yeah, I think he's a probably
although
good tournament play as well.
I'll say if anyone sits tomorrow, it's going to be Aldridge and not Kawhi. That's my guess. But Pop is unpredictable, and I'll end up being wrong.
He's been toying with what he's been doing in the front court, too. If you've seen, he started Bertans 2 games ago. He started Dedmon last game. So
I just don't think Pop gives
I have noticed that Aldridge's rebounding numbers have taken they're a lot higher when Lee starts. So if Lee starts, perhaps bump to Aldridge. He's a good tournament pivot off of Markieff Morris, though. On DraftKings, they're like the same price. Aldridge and Markieff. And I think people are going to be on Markieff tomorrow. So I think Aldridge would be a nice tournament pivot.
People should be on
similar
Markieff
upside.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
So Dwight is 7,100 on FanDuel tomorrow. It's doable.
Mm-hmm. Definitely doable. Again, good matchup, revenge game. Again, the only thing I'm worried about is back-to-back.
I agree. There's really only a couple centers that are even in contention tomorrow. Zubac
probably about 5.
Zubac is in play.
Oh, yeah. I think people are going to be on him, too. He's only 3,900 on DraftKings, so...
He's up to 47 here.
Yeah, so that could be a nice, easy fade. I think you could pivot straight to Okafor if you wanted to.
And then Tariq Black.
In tournaments, just because I feel like they're the same price. So, I mean, if you looked at Okafor and Zubac are the same price on FanDuel, the ownership would go to Zubac, right?
It should.
Yeah. In my opinion, it will. Get this. Jahlil Okafor, today's game, he put up 16 points and only had 1 rebound. Terrible game. His usage rate, 37.1%.
What the fuck?
So...
How does... That's why usage is a nice stat, but you got to be careful with it.
It is somewhat flawed. I mean, the fact that he was getting the ball, it's still Jahlil Okafor, and he doesn't know what to do with it. So offensively, he did well. He took the most shots on his team in very limited minutes. He took 16 shots in 24 minutes. That's why his usage rate was so high. But defensively, which he had one rebound. One rebound. So if you're rostering a center and you're like, oh, 16 shots in 24 minutes, I'll take it. One rebound, pass. I mean, granted, I don't think he gets one rebound tomorrow,
Yeah.
So perhaps, again, I think it's an okay tournament pivot off of Zubac's ownership.
Other than that, I think that's it, dude. Really no other centers that I'm
looking at. Yeah, we talked about Gortat, Zubac. I got nothing else, yeah. I don't know who you would pair. I guess if you're talking two-man stacks in Philly, I don't know who you would pair with Okafor if you wanted to. I was thinking about that. I guess you could go McConnell, but I don't like his upside for tournament.
You have to go McConnell.
Right, but I don't think I play Okafor in cash, and I don't think I play McConnell in tournaments type thing. But I guess on a 4-game slate, you can kind of do whatever. It doesn't really factor in that much.
True. By the way,
yeah,
go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, finish your thing.
I was just gonna say I like John Wall and Markieff Morris. Kind of like Lou Will and Zubac, like a second team type of mini stack. All right, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say. So we were talking today. Something I think is really, really important, especially for people that are relatively new to daily fantasy, is bankroll management, lineup construction, and contest selection. Everyone gets hyped up and sucked into these GPPs when they're not building either one, the correct lineups for them, or two, they're not ready to join a GPP. I know that was my biggest mistake when I started, right? So, and another, to pivot off that, when you're new to DFS, you have to understand there's two types of knowledge. There's real life knowledge and there's fantasy knowledge. And they're very different. Someone that is a good basketball player does not necessarily correlate to a good fantasy basketball player. So, we're talking about that today. We're going to look at getting a video out for you guys in a discussion format. So, we'll probably have us 5 or 6 guys. And we'll have kind of a similar screen, and it'll just be a giant discussion. And we're just
like a round table.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're going to kind of guide, because that is the biggest thing and the biggest mistake I see. And it's why people get discouraged so quickly. Because you throw this money into a GPP and you see FanDuel and, oh, I've made millions off FanDuel, shit like that. These guys, one, have far superior systems. They have far superior knowledge. And that's not saying you're stupid. It's just saying these guys do this full time. Most of us are working jobs in the day and we're putting aside 30 minutes right before lock just to build a lineup. These guys are building lineups all day and tinkering. So I think you have to play contests that are really smart for what time frame you have. And that's why I'll always recommend double ups and 50-50s.
Yeah. That can be somewhat tricky too because, I play a lot of double ups and half the people in my double ups are in every one of my double ups.
I agree. I play the same guys all the time. I play the same sharks.
Yeah, so.
But
there's that to be cautioned. So somewhat, I think starting out somewhat single entry stuff is interesting too because, you can limit
the amount of lines.
What they can do.
Yes. The other thing is I think you have to bet small when you're starting out. Unless you have money to burn, I just feel like you're going to burn your money doing it because, and I do the same thing.
I was going to say, go through the motions every day. Go through the same motions until you start to unlock little secrets as you do it every day.
And here's the thing. Cash lines are lower, yes. But that doesn't necessarily mean they're always easier either. Because there is a formula to playing cash, and it's something I'm still learning as well. I'm going to be honest with you. When I started the show, I was of the mindset of, fuck it, throw a lineup in. You know, I like these guys. But the more I've played, and it comes with experience, it does. The more I've played, the more I've learned that there's a way to play cash and there's a way to play GPP.
And it's different from slate to slate.
It is. You have to know your slate. Like, for example, tomorrow on a 4-game slate, fading Harden fading Harden. Harden's the highest upside play on the slate. Is an extremely risky cash play. He's going to be probably 85 to 95% owned tomorrow. There'll be one person that goes contrarian in a double up, but he'll be at least 85% owned. If he's not, I'll be extremely surprised.
Yeah, going off what I'm saying by slate to slate, so yesterday I think a very solid strategy as far as building your lineups is to look at, this play compared to the other plays at his position. You really have to compare these players based on who else is there.
Truth.
Whereas today, you really want to value correlation statistics. Because the people that correlate with each other and the people that roster players that correlate with each other are going to set themselves apart right off the bat. True. And so normally I like to target teams that are in good spots, similar to I like Washington's in a good spot today. And I like to target game totals and game scripts and things of that nature, and that kind of factors into watching the games. And then I look at those teams and I say, okay, which two players are in good matchups and correlate off of each other.
You're right.
Whereas on a 12-game slate, I'm looking more at position by position and being like, okay, so if I don't play this guy, who else would I play at this price? Similar to what I was just saying with Okafor and Zubac,
Mm-hmm.
That sort of strategy comes into play more on a 12-game slate, whereas on a 4-game slate, I generally just like to go with the play everybody else has got. So I'd probably just go with Zubac and say, you know what, Okafor, yeah, he could be in a good spot, could get less ownership, but
if he busts, you're in trouble.
Yeah, if he busts, you're in trouble, right? So on a 12-game slate, it's more of a better strategy to do that.
Someone just said, I'm all about roster construction. I actually think it's more important than who you roster. 100%.
Yeah.
So
you have to consider these guys based on the other possible plays.
And so that's what
not
we'll
just
cover.
Because they're matchups on paper, not because they're a good basketball player, but are they a good fantasy play compared to the other fantasy plays at his position?
Yep. So we're gonna cover all that. We're gonna brainstorm what we're gonna cover and how we're gonna cover it. It's just an idea that was thrown out today, and again, that's why I encourage you guys. If you have ideas or you have things, bring them to us. I promise you, we'll talk about them and discuss how we can either implement it or whether it's just something that we can keep it. If it's something that I can just message you back and talk to you about, or if I feel like this is a really good point, we need to make a show about it because it can help everyone in our community. And this is something that I think can help everyone because we have a mix, right? We have guys that are winning thousands of dollars. We have one viewer that won $25,000 in his last 3 weeks. So, I mean, there's guys that are extremely knowledgeable, and then there's guys that are brand new. And I think together we can help bring the brand new guys up to where these seasoned guys are, but also balance and help everyone because everyone's still learning this, right? There's always things of knowledge that you can learn, something like the Jason Smith play. I didn't think of him at all, and then someone pointed him out. And then I looked at it, and all of a sudden, that's definitely a factor.
Right. Yeah, I can't say it enough. Find guys that correlate with each other on teams you think are in good matchups. That's the name of the game on a 4-game slate. And to go off what Kyle was saying, you guys run the show. If you look at all of the changes we've made, it's because you guys have asked for them. Me and Kyle are here doing this every night, but you guys run the show. Whatever you guys want, we're gonna do for you. The chat. Everybody likes the chat. We put the chat up there. People wanted DraftKings optimizers.
Yep.
As soon as we could, we got that. We did the show yesterday in DraftKings because people were asking for it. Whatever you guys want to see, whatever you guys want, let us know. We are 100% open to tailoring this experience to you guys.
The user, the viewer.
You guys run the show. Just let us know what you want, and we got you.
And to point on Dan's point, absolutely, man. Get in the Facebook group. If you don't have Facebook, make one. Use a fake name, but get in that Facebook group, man. I'm telling you. There's this one right here, the Facebook group, the Fantasy Phenom Movement. If you sign up for the subscription, you get access to the Pro one. And that just has all the guys that are subscribers. Those are your guys that are playing DFS every single day. Typically, I mean, it makes sense, right? Guys that are subscribing to the sheets and everything are typically your guys that are going to play every single day. And that's where we have some of the guys that are winning thousands of dollars. So I'm telling you, there's a lot of knowledgeable guys in there, and they're willing to share their information. We don't have a ton of guys in there that are winning and don't talk about their lineups and who to play. A lot of these guys are active, so.
Yeah. You see that someone just mentioned we need to call in the show. I somewhat like the idea, like say someone takes down a GPP or wins big, hit us up. We could talk on the phone, and then we could, I don't know, what do you think about getting them on the show to just discuss how they built their roster to take down a GPP?
Maybe what
I feel like that would be kind of cool.
Maybe what we can do is, now that we have the audio podcast, I guarantee you there's a way to do a audio podcast over the phone and have call-ins.
Yeah, something that's so that if you take down some money, and I want to know how you went around building your lineups. That's something that I would want to know. I'm sure everybody else that listens to this or watches this would want to know too. So that'd be kind of cool. I could get behind that idea.
So again, I mean, let's discuss how we can implement that. That's something obviously that's going to be a little harder to implement.
Definitely.
A call-in feature, because that's not something we use, but it's something that we can discuss and potentially try and fit in. So all these are good ideas. Keep them coming.
Yeah, throw them our way. We'll consider and try to make it work the best we can. Speaking of the users, again, let's go forward and talk about these users who we're the top phenoms of the night.
Let's do it.
Right, Kyle? Let's do it. Again, being a top phenom on a slate like tonight gets some extra props. So you guys did it tonight, and we'll start on FanDuel. If this will load. All right, yeah. So FanDuel, one of our own, Steeler Nation 703. I see you, Eric, getting this line in here. I think this is your first takedown of the phenom. Dude rode Guillermo. Mr. Hernan Gomez himself. But, yeah, he had a Bledsoe Curry stack that did work, and congratulations to you. I'm sure that will not plummet, the opposite of plummet, up the leaderboards.
Ascend.
Ascend. Thank you. Oh, man. On DraftKings is a new guy. I haven't seen this guy in a while. DFS Get Paid with a line of 300.5. Took down the Money Melee. And just to go over his line, what really did it for him is he had Klay, Blake, and Anthony Davis. So congrats to you, man. He had Rodney Hood in that line, and I feel your pain. I really do.
Mike Hughes, Rodney Hood.
I cashed, and my top line had Rodney Hood in it too, and it would have done some damage. Should have known, but oh well. We move on to a new day. Look tomorrow to see the full standings on the Facebook page, on Twitter, and to see if you made that top 5.
Yeah, buddy. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. You guys are amazing. We notice the same people in here every night. And I thank you guys. I really do. I know it's a late show. Again, it's just harder to get on. It really is. It's hard to get on in the earlier and earlier with having to update now DraftKings and FanDuel sheets. Researching, it's just, I don't want to bring you guys a subpar quality show. And I know neither does Mike. So we'd rather get a show later than an earlier show and have less content. But
yeah, definitely. I mean, to those of you that don't want to subscribe, just know that it's not like we're still putting in a lot of time. I mean, I still spend hours before the show doing research. It's not like you can watch the show and you're just getting subpar advice, and if you pay for it, you're getting the extra thing. You're still getting the show for free, and we're still putting all this time in to give this to you. You know, like Kyle said, we're not coming out in live if we have a subpar show.
That and the Facebook group. The Facebook group is free. We're not getting rid of that. Obviously,
we're not getting rid of that.
There's the pro one for the subscribers, but that's obviously more so for people that are subscribing and want to see optimals and share optimals, right? Obviously, just makes sense not to share them in a free group. But that doesn't mean there's lack of knowledge in that free group. We're still in it. All the same guys that are in the pro group are in it. It's just...
Yeah, I share with you the injury news and pivots. We do I do the lock show. It's all still there. It's just
absolutely.
We add this as well.
So again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, if you haven't already, make sure you're following us on Twitter, the business page, the Facebook group, and again, if you're interested in subscribing, again, 7-day free trial. Get everything for free for 7 days. You get to try it out. If you don't like it, feel free to cancel. But I think you will. And then, as always, make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Look forward to things coming in the future. So we're keep building every day.
That's right. Holler at us tomorrow if you got any questions, and stay tuned for what's to come.
All right, guys. Have a wonderful night.